Just arrived at Naber Racing. Sean came with me. Don't mind him. He's a Corvette guy, and he's gawking at a 2JZ C5 Camaro at the time.
It's so cool, but it's so wrong.
It's pretty neat, and it's not too far away from what we're doing with the Camaro. Speaking of which, Safe's just finishing up the motor now. We had to wait on the water pump so he could get the timing perfect, but here's the motor. Looks awesome. Over there, Safe. Man, putting together everything. So how'd everything turn out, Safe?
Great. Everything fell within spec, and we should be making some jam here soon.
That's awesome. I am hoping that we can get the rest of the car together and have it able to turn key here in maybe a month, make some super noises out of a Camaro. I know we had to wait a little bit, which had nothing really to do with you, and of course Gimbal's gonna spazoid out. But the machine shop was so far behind with COVID and stuff, we just had to wait a while, but finally got it done. So they kind of put a rush on everything, and we're finally at the finished point now. All kinds of engines over here. Other 2Js in progress. Turbo LS over here. I think this is a big inline 6 diesel.
Is it a T56 in it?
Yep. T56.
Yeah, I saw the adapter sitting there.
Yep. And
Nice.
then it takes a standard Supra exhaust manifold, intake manifold. It's all bolt on, so there's like nothing really fussing the bottom besides the nickel piping.
Wow. That's scary how well that fits.
And the C5, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not thinking about it. Put that on the record. I'm happy with my twin turbo LS.
All right, Sean, what do you think about the single turbo inline 6 3-liter?
It's cute.
It's not the word I would use. I'll remember that when
What,
we
when I'm
line them
staring
up
at your
someday.
taillights?
Yes. It's like the cute
actually-
engine just put the smack down.
Actually, for the record, I am really excited to see this. This is an extremely cool project, and I've always had a love of the 2JZ myself. So this is really cool to see happening, and I like what I'm seeing here. Happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. Big day.
No, this is really exciting to see. Actually, me being a car guy, you know how I am, Ben.
Yeah.
It's car stuff and it's horsepower. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah, it should make a little bit of that, I would hope. Safe, what do you think? Of course the gimbal's gonna freak out. God. Need to get a new gimbal. This one's got schizophrenia. Safe, what do you think the motor's gonna put down with the combo I have?
What is it, a 7685?
7685 GT42 Gen 1 precision.
On kill? Is it it's a manual car, right?
Yeah, it's a Magnum T56.
I think it'll pull it on a...
I want to do I'll push it to about 40 pounds of boost and just leave it at that and see what it does.
At 40, I think it'll make 1150-ish, 1180-ish to the tire.
Okay, that's kind of almost what my goal was, 1150 to 1200.
Yeah,
Which
it'll definitely make it for sure.
okay, cool.
You got the good parts, and you got the nice low end with the DVI.
Yep.
Glad
So-
I got DKT's number on dial.
Yeah, we'll see what it makes. I know the Real Streets car with pretty much this very similar combo made 13 something at 40. Yeah, like 41 psi's. I don't know.
Yeah,
It should.
You can get pretty aggressive with them. It just really depends on who's tuning the car and
Yeah.
how aggressive they want to get with it. My braking process for this is heat cycle it, fresh oil, heat cycle, drop the oil, put good oil in it, and send it.
All right.
That's how you break it in.
Yep. Well, that'll be the plan. You say for the break-in oil and the regular oil, the Rotella T6 should be fine?
I use that quite a bit, or Joe Gibbs XP6, but mainly Rotella. you know, I've taken motors apart 3-4 seasons later, making over 1,000, 1,200, and I could literally reuse the bearings if I want.
Nice.
So I stand by it. You know, you get a lot of people saying, oh, it doesn't have the additives and stuff that it used to have. That's fine and dandy, but the oil just still works. So
Yeah.
you know, I go by the experience. I don't go by the research and the internet for 4 years.
There you go. So is it the 5W40, or what weight do you recommend?
1540.
1540. Okay, I couldn't remember.
I have gallons of that in my garage.
Yeah, well, I like it too because it's fairly inexpensive and you can buy it pretty much everywhere, which is really
Yeah.
nice. So one thing we were just talking about is the intake that Blake has fabricated. You know, Blake, awesome dude, knows his stuff inside and out, but even he has mentioned, you know, I've made this from scratch. I don't know 100% if it's going to hold 40 PSI or not. Just talk to Safe. Safe thinks it probably will, but in the event it can't, I don't really have a lot of options. There's a bunch of China-made intakes like this one for sale for not too much on eBay and stuff, and it's really about the only option we have, but Safe's just saying even these will hold that power level
Yeah, that's impressive.
pretty well. So looking at it in person, that actually looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
So if it comes to where Blake's fails for some reason, we can just go this route.
Yeah. I don't see why you couldn't. That's impressive.
We got Safe has kind of made his own log style over here, which is pretty badass.
Yeah, and I've seen some posts of people saying, oh, you know, I've cracked them at the weld or something. Maybe, you know, the quality control's not there, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, but overall, I ran those on quite a bit of tires. And we haven't. The only issue we've had with those intakes is the throttle body shaft seal will leak after like 50, 55 pounds. So like if you're making 55 pounds of boost, it'll probably knock you down like 52, 51. That's about it. Besides that.
I'm just gonna throw 40 pounds at it. I'm not looking to do something silly. Even the GT42 should be able to take that all day, every day, and smile for more. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do 40 pounds for now.
yeah.
And then I want to do mile racing. Okay, let's turn that up.
At some point in time, it didn't build this motor really for that kind of level anyway. I don't know what the weak point on the motor would be for power.
You won't break. No. You'll be far from that.
That's
Okay.
the correct answer right there.
Well, I would always rather build it for more power than I plan on making. I'd rather not. Oh, it makes, you know, it's good to 1500. Let's push 1499 and
I mean, that goes with everything.
yeah.
Everything's got a breaking point. Everything's, you know, you got longevity. It just really depends on the maintenance and, you know, this motor, like these motors, I don't like to let them sit and baby them and garage keep them, whatever, like where you're barely driving them, you know, 100 miles, 200 miles a summer.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, would beat the shit out of it.
Oh, yeah,
that.
Well,
To me, if you let it sit,
it's not going to be a problem. Anybody who knows me and knows my car knows that I don't take them out and then just drive the speed limit and then, you know, drive it to the grocery store every other week. I mean, I drive it on the highway at speeds too, just to cruise in it, but I'm definitely not gentle with them. I don't spend the kind of money I do just to show off dyno numbers and say it did this once.
Yeah,
I enjoy taking the potential for what it's worth. So
yeah, you don't need to be too, you know, it's not fragile by any means. And in my opinion, you know, just keep giving her hell. Like, just don't let it just sit and that probably does more harm than good. In
Yeah.
my opinion.
I don't think you have to.
it'll probably sit for a few months in the winter, and then that's about it.
Well, yeah, that's a
But-
different story, but like in the
Yeah.
summertime and stuff, you know, like take
Oh,
the
no.
car out. And I saw your thing. You guys putting AC and heat and all this stuff in it back.
Oh yeah, it's
I mean-
it's a street car. It's gonna be
That's cool.
it's gonna be enjoyable. That's one of the things I did early on in the car's life that whatever saved me probably 50 pounds of weight in the car, and I just ever since then I'm like, oh, on a hot day I'd really like some air conditioning. And
I don't know what you're talking about. That cruise back from the GM Nats back in like 2005 was pretty comfy.
yeah, for you, a nice air conditioned Trans Am you had. All right, safe. So what am I doing by pulling this little pin here?
Yeah, you're setting the timing.
Hang on. It's
opposite direction. There you go. All right.
I think I'm on you.
Getting ready to set the timing just by pulling it, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
He's done.
There it is.
He's set, ready to roll.
Awesome.
So.
Okay.
Good luck.
Hey.
I think this will be.
Thank you very much.
Sir, anytime.
I really appreciate it.
Very interesting project. I'm looking forward to seeing it run.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. And thanks for all your hard work. Getting everything done right. I know you were at the mercy of the machine shop with all this time and stuff, and
yeah.
I appreciate you doing the best you could with everything, and thank you very much for getting it done right, and it looks awesome.
For sure, anytime.
Final step, trying to get the engine back in the back of the BMW. Before, without any of the guts inside, we were able to kind of manhandle it, but now it weighs just under 500 pounds with everything put together, and not so simple of an operation. Finished some lunch, courtesy McDonald's.
Ooh.
Yeah. 2J in tow. Driving back from Michigan. Overall, seem pretty happy. It seems like I think it's going to be a pretty solid motor.
Oh yeah.
Sean and I were talking about some stuff leaving the shop. You know, we discussed some other things, some other possibilities of ways I could have gone with it. We were talking about like head porting and stuff like that. Head Games, I think, is the name of the company in New Jersey that does head porting for these, and it's extremely expensive. Which, I mean, if you look at all the valves and stuff in the 2J head, there's a lot to it. And hence why the labor's up there. I just don't understand why, for me, to spend that kind of money on something that ultimately is not going to really give you any more power. It's just, it'll help the spool quite a bit, but it's just a lot of money to spend. And Safe even said too, if you're going to go kind of all out on stuff, I think his head is ported, but he got it used. He got a deal on it.
Yeah, I think he said he paid like $3,000 for it used, but the guy that bought it originally paid like $7,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's a lot of money for head porting.
Yeah, it's a chunk of change for sure.
It's just, again, it blows my mind that head porting doesn't gain you anything on the top end. It just gains you that under the curve airflow, which can be big if you need it.
Yeah, for all race applications where you're going all out, I mean, spool is everything. Even the guys at Real Street, when they're running their cars that are full race deals, trying to get the best time slip they can, they even say for the lag they use a little bit of nitrous down low just to get it moving, because the 2J, it's not really impressive in the lower RPMs to get it out of the hole. It's just not. It's going to lag until you get into that boost range, which for my turbo I think is going to be probably around 4,000 RPM. Now, until today, I didn't know how far to really rev it. I saw guys run to about 8,000 RPM and thought that was good. Safe said, oh, just keep it under 9,000 RPM. So actually got quite a bit to play with. I think the 8,000 RPM tack I have should be good. And then if I really want to mean business, I've got a digital heads-up display that has its own tachometer, and hopefully that'll go higher. And then if it really bugs me that I can't read that extra 500 to 1,000 RPM, I can probably go get a different speed hood and get the 10,000 RPM one. I didn't want to do that originally just because it's so small. The numbers on the tack on the 8,000 RPM one are slightly big and they're good, but you get that much more RPM band in there, and it's just everything becomes so small in the smaller gauge. I'd love to have a bigger tack and stuff. My dash just doesn't support it in the Camaro, so one of the downfalls of everything. Glad we've got it pretty much ready to turnkey almost, where it's really all set up. Safe really did
it was
solid by. Well, he helped me out a lot because he kept asking me, he's like, hey, do you have this tensioner? Hey, do you have that? Hey, do you have this? And when I got the motor, some of the stuff I had, most of it I just didn't though. And without having that stuff, I mean, yeah, I can start piecing that stuff together all over the place. But he had so many spare parts. He's like, no worries, I got you. I'll do this. He even threw in a billet tensioner for me, which he didn't have to do, but was awesome of him.
He hooked you up pretty big with all that stuff.
He did, and you can just kind of tell too, you know, I've been through the game enough with enough people building motors. You can tell when someone's just wanting to get you out the door, and if he pisses you off, it's not a big deal because they probably got, 10 other dudes calling them for stuff, and it's not a big deal. And then you got the guys that really kind of care, and they take their time with it, and they do a good job. And you can just tell when you build a rapport with them, and Safe was definitely that way.
So was very cool dude to talk to.
Yeah, he really was. Can't say enough positive things about him. So I think we ought to be in good shape. We're just talking about some power level stuff too. I think we got that on tape earlier. Real Street made, I think it was like 1,300 and some change off of the same cams and 3-liter head.
The same setup you've got.
Same setup I've got. It was, I think, 41 pounds of boost and some change versus 40 pounds of boost. I always thought it would make somewhere between 1,150 to 1,200. That's what Safe guessed too. So I don't know. If you got an idea, what do you think it'll put down in the end? Drop a comment. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Sean thinks it'll decimate all and make closer to that 1,290, 1,250 range. I don't know. I'll be happy with anything north of 1,150.
It will decimate all once you overnight parts from Japan.
Well, fortunately, I haven't had to do that. I've got a buddy of mine, Todd, that's works for Toyota, that's been helping me a lot with getting some of the OEM parts, which has been extremely helpful. We had to bring the water pump today, which is an OEM Toyota water pump, in order for him to Safe to get the timing all set up on it. We had to wait around for him to do that, which is more than fine.
And that's something that was actually very entertaining to me. The crank wasn't locked, the cams weren't locked, and I was asking him, I said, how are you locking everything in? He goes, with these motors, they really don't move when you're doing it like this. And he wound it all on by hand right where it's supposed to go, ran the motor over a few times, no interference, no nothing. I mean, the guy knows what he was doing and did it very efficiently and quickly. But it was, from a mechanic standpoint, from where I was looking at it, that was just all kinds of no, don't do that in my book, because nothing is locked in place while he's putting this timing belt on.
Yeah.
But he knows, I mean, he knew what he was doing, and he got it done, and it was right on there like it should be.
Yeah, he's done this before more than a few times, so he knows what he's doing. It's funny, he told me today he watched the last video and said, hey, it's a good video. I noticed, though, you're running those other coils. He's like, just FYI, I haven't had this experience, but I have seen people burn holes in their pistons with those coils. So he recommended the IGN 1A coils, which I really didn't want to drop that extra money on something that I wasn't planning on like that, but I would much rather drop the money now than have to worry about burning a hole and one of those fancy nice diamond pistons that were custom put in by him, and worry about pulling the motor. And, you know, all this that I'm doing, it all stems from my previous experience of the Turbo LT1 they just are not going to handle that power level without twisting a block or doing something, or completely filling it, or something of that sort. And I just don't want something I'm having to take out the motor every year and do something with. So
I think it was a good call buying the coils. It's one of those things where if it's going to be a weak point, don't even put it on the car. You've gone all out with the build so far, and it's not like you didn't go all out with your LT1 build either. That was a top end build. That was a very well done build. It's just you overdid the capacity of that block to take what you were throwing at it. Now you're not going to do that with this, but if there's a known weak point, don't even chance it. I think you made the right call.
But it feels really, really good to get the 2J complete. Finally, we waited on the machine shop for a long time, and not Safe's fault. It's just times like these, businesses are running slow, running on parts that take a long time to get, more than normal, and you just got to be patient with it. I said when I dropped it off, I figured it was going to be, twice as much and at least twice as long. Unfortunately, it's not twice as much, but it did take, I think we're over twice the original estimate of the length of time we started planning on thinking it was going to take. But it is what it is. I'd rather have it done right than have it done quick. So now later tonight we'll get it off to Blake. Hopefully get it in the car here soon, and then we'll get rocking and rolling and everything else. And then Blake has got quite a bit more stuff to do before we're ready to really be able to turnkey. But I'm hopeful. It is the still beginning of September-ish right now, closer to mid-September. I'm hoping that maybe by the end of October or mid-October, maybe we'd be ready to turn the key and get some miles on it before the frost, and I won't even say the four-lettered white falling down from the sky word
the
yet.
Fluffy stuff.
Yes, living in Indiana can come at any time, so I don't want it to come sooner. I'd rather come it later so I can get some miles on it this year.
Yep.
Hopefully get it broken in so I can get it somewhere to have it fully tuned and turn up the boost before the end of the year. That'd be awesome, but it'll take whatever it takes. So we'll see. Next stop, Blake's house.
Yep. One more note. I just want to say something. You see this? This isn't even my motor, and I'm excited about it. That's all I'm saying.
A little later.
So I'll get those. I'll send. Like, it's just 2-10 AN weld bumps. Well, here.
That's fine.
Let me make a phone call.
Okay, well, this completes today's festivities of bringing said motor from there to here.
In the garage.